This boxing video uses shadow boxing for boxing entertainment and for boxing experience that people can gain for free by watching shadow boxing towards the camera. So with shadow boxing towards the camera, now you have a means to virtually spar with someone to get the looks of a fighter coming at you. And by the way, who was it following? It did work when I cleaned the boxing gloves. I didn't scrub them long enough though. I should have done a little bit more, but never put them in the dryer. I had to put all Windex and take it off everything I could see, and then it still turned something white, a little pink, because you'll see if you watch that video. But if you don't clean your gloves, you're going to develop your bad boxing style. You're going to hold your hands away from your thing, and you're going to get bad habits. So this is the jab, the lead punch. Whatever hand you right with, that's the one you put behind you, and you put that foot slightly behind the other one. Now this is the position where we can rotate the body to throw punches in combinations, referred to as combination punching. So, two jabs, that's a combination. Jab right hand, that's a combination. Jab right hand steps out. You see the footwork and the punches are connected. And styles. That's why they say styles make fights. Boxing, sights, fights. See, but this is where and how. So we could gain someday. Everyone pretends we have freedom of speech. And in fact, human nature science, with the sciences, all missed the method between our nations. So we have to understand what treatments of positive and of negative are in collusion. Where and how the locations, areas, and states of every modern nation are self-valued as victims never having fathomed. Self-value is what is used remotely, all positions of sophistication, all identity ground locations. Since before our founding parents were even born, this already had done worse than divided and conquered Native Americans from Native Americans, A through Z. It sustained them, tactically taken away, propagated to other education than they had actually remembered. They had actually remembered, took them to retreats, took them to fact human nature needs to counter with simultaneously was taking them from the means to counter it fact human nature wise, while they were helping them, the only ones to help them do it too. Criminal ceaseless natures of positive and of negative and collusion. The same thing distinctly, sickly distinctly, so everyone missed how sickly non-distinctly. That same method was against the people of the surface nations involved with the narratives needed to react to that. Everyone leaving out what was exploiting that and defending that. So for example, for the motivations to self-value roles, with the breaching method, every single individual, because of how they're a victim of this method that is completely fact human nature oriented, it's completely identity oriented. So there are obligations for a whole bunch of simultaneously obligations and revelations in relationship to how that breaching method used the slavery of our founding parents and how they put everyone sickly distinctly identity thefts and frauds against them, and that sustained. And see, that made all locations, areas, and states have to hide life aggressions in relationship to the correlation nature is actually inherent, active, and progressive native means, and with the value of sequence true. No, since before the finite of what is active now, what is progressive now, what is finite now, order of the finite. See, once you have the short words entertained, okay, they're not going to give me the short words. See, this is abridged. Everyone's speaking anyways. Anyway, this breaching method knew that everyone would be doing that. This breaching method understood, like the ancients did, how and why we are a species. The same way the cell nucleus, the cell body, and the cell wall are manifest. There are proofs that it is most probable that the ancients had microscopes and understood this and taught this. Part of the proofs are the ways self-valued are overtly / insidiously criminally foreign influence sciences abridged victims but victim predator in relationship to the overt points of discorrelation regarding the victory of American Revolutionary War, which our founding parents left us points of correlation to connect and to communicate with free speech prevented. Then they want to have a debate over that, leaving out the proofs of it, which is all identity ground locations. So over the last 3 months, there are a whole bunch of police involved with switching names, forging names, presenting more names. For example, that's where our country rolls, with a whole bunch of other countries, where and how their identity ground locations were used, ways they couldn't fathom. Then they just used, so it was a database relationship since before computers. So watch Little Rap Guy and Friends, because they will help with counter theory and with theory in relationship to science proper. So we have the sciences individually grouped and together, abridged, and hundreds of nations at once self-valued roles with that. Where and how the human identity is self-valued roles with and as a negative identity of negative value nature progression. Where and how this science of the ancients understood that how we have to be positive to 5 to 1/3/5, invisible but still discernible that way, increasing identities of volume /s. The same way there are 1/3/5 identities of sequence nature on both sides, while as the value of the cell nucleus, the cell body, and the cell wall. And note the cell wall sharing each other, and the strength of that, making the body of value. Discernment, the delicateness of that, making the body of value, discernment of that which is the identity of both strength and weakness at the same time. What is delicate, what is strong. Nothing is not Trinity nature. All exceptions and exception are in demonstration of that. And so nothing is, I should say first, and mostly, nothing is not this one identity of volume juxtaposed with all others. And that's how it demonstrates its distinct, non-distinct, and simultaneous relationship to itself, which is its identity of volume. Its identity of volume is identity of relation to itself, and the value of that. So think about the different parts, natures of volume that are making up the body. Think about how you sweat really fast when you work out, when you're boxing. There are proofs that the martial arts and boxing, they were revealed in ancient times with the sciences, before they became criminally foreign influenced in semi-ancient times, since before modern nations' religions, greatly about how they were, the sciences are involved with criminally foreign influence locations, areas, and states. And see, this again was per a method that knew everyone would have to counter the negative value nature progressions, action natures that nature itself would demonstrate as fact treatment nature. Need to blame individuals, groups, and needing to blame the species, identity of volume, wrongly, and even when correctly, attaching lies and illusions and delusions to that. Self-value grows with that through time. I just remind. So, with its native pure caused the Boston Tea Party, for example. And it has the value of James Madison's plan. Vaccines it can. Vaccines.